Hey friends, this is Year 3 NAPLAN Maths Tips and Tricks. Question 11. Jack folded this piece of paper along the dotted lines to make a model. Which of these models did Jack make? Okay, so we can already see that this net will make one shape, and this option here and this option here has one shape stacked on top of the other. So we know that they both cannot be the answers. Now let's see which one of these two options is correct. We can see from the net that this shape will have a square base. So which one of these options has a square base? This option has a triangle base, and this option has a square base. So this is the correct option, the triangular prism. Question 12. This pattern is made by turning a tile. Which tile is missing in the pattern? Okay, so if you are in a test with a time limit, I would recommend leaving this question until the end, because in some cases it can take quite a while to find the pattern. But if you're at the end and you've got extra time and you want to come back to this question, this is how you do it. So we can see that for every step in the pattern, it's going from horizontal to vertical. That means that this pattern probably has some rotation. Now let's look at what's happening when we're going from this tile to this tile. We can see that the first tile looks like it's turning to the right to make the next shape. And that looks like it's the answer. Every time, the tile is doing a quarter turn to the right, also known as 90 degrees clockwise. So if we keep following the pattern, then after this tile, if it's turning to the right every time, then this white circle here should be in the bottom left. And there's only one option where this circle is in the bottom left, which is this option here. Question 13. This scale is balanced. What is the weight of the cube? Okay, so we can see we have a cylinder that weighs 13 grams and a cube which we don't know the weight of on one side. And on the other side, we have a trapezoid. Sorry, trapezoid is the wrong word. Trapezoid or trapezium is actually the 2D version. The 3D version is called a trapezoidal prism, which weighs 28 grams. So if the scale is balanced, that means they both need to have an equal weight. And if one side is 28 grams and the other side is 13 grams plus something else, we need the other side to add up to 28. So how do we do that? Well, we can say it like this. 13 plus the unknown number equals 28. Now another way of writing that is 28 minus 13 equals the unknown number. So let's work that out. 8 minus 3 is 5, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So the answer is 15 grams. Question 14. Eva travelled 4,037 kilometers from Darwin to Sydney. This distance can be written as... Okay, so because this number is in the thousands, that means we know that the number is going to have 4 digits. So we can rule out the first option because it only has 3 digits. And we can also rule out the fourth option because it has 5 digits. Now, out of these two, we need to find out which one's the right answer. So, these options both start with 4,000, and the next part is 37. Now, this option says 37, while this option says 370, and the answer is not 4,370, so this is also not the option, which means that this is the correct answer. Question 15. The table shows the number of different birds Anne and Elizabeth saw. They drew a correct picture graph to show the number of birds they saw altogether. Which picture graph did they draw? Okay, so first off, we always need to check the key. So this key says that a picture of a bird equals one bird, which just means that every bird you see is equal to one bird. Next, in the table, it shows the amount of birds that Anne and Elizabeth saw separately. But in the picture graph, it shows how many they saw all together. So we need to add up how many of each bird they saw. Okay, so Anne saw 2 finches and Elizabeth saw 0. So 2 plus 0 is 2. Anne saw 3 magpies and Elizabeth saw 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. And finally, Anne saw 2 pigeons and Elizabeth also saw 2 pigeons. 2 plus 2 is 4. Now let's check which picture graph is correct. Now this first picture graph shows that they saw no finches when they actually saw 2, so that can't be the right option. The other 3 picture graphs show that they saw 2 finches, which is correct. Next, they saw 5 magpies altogether, but this option here says that they only saw 3, so that's not the correct answer either. Now, it's between these 2 options. Finally, they saw 4 pigeons altogether, but this table here, sorry, I meant to say picture graph, not table, shows that they only saw 2 pigeons, so that's not the correct answer. And that means that this option is the correct answer. Alright friends, that's the end of part 3. If you enjoyed or learned something from this video, please consider subscribing. It really motivates me to make more videos. I'll see you in part 4.